So first of all, we are privileged to have with us a distinguished individual who has dedicated their life to the cause of social impact. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Anupama Shetty, Mission Director of the Biocon Foundation, who will deliver her keynote address. A very warm welcome to you, Dr. Shetty.
Thank you, Ruchika.
It is with great pleasure that I introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Shetty. She's a distinguished individual with a wealth of experience spanning over more than 2 decades, and she currently leads the CSR initiatives at the Biocon Foundation. And I want to share that Dr. Shetty's journey is marked by a diverse background, making her a true polymath in the realm of social change. I don't want to waste any time, and I would want Dr. Shetty to please take charge and please address our viewers with your special speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruchika, for that very kind introduction. And at the outset, before I deliver the keynote address, I'd like to thank CSR Universe for considering me for this honor, and especially for the delivery of the keynote address at today's Social Impact Awards 2023. So ladies and gentlemen, my peers, my colleagues who are all there on the call today, I'm deeply honored to address you all as we reflect on a journey and a topic that transcends balance sheets and spreadsheets, a topic that touches the very core of our humanity and our responsibility as corporations and society. We're here to explore the essence of corporate social responsibility and the profound meaning of impact, not merely in terms of numbers, but in the transformation of lives, community, and our world. Ruchika, I'm so glad that you mentioned the shloka in the beginning. You know, it was truly very significant. And I would also like to bring to the forefront a concept deeply rooted in our ancient wisdom, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. This principle, often translated as "a world is one family," underscores the profound interconnectedness of CSR. And it resonates that the essence of CSR goes beyond numbers and metrics, embracing a holistic systems perspective. We are increasingly witness today to a movement from contemporary capitalism to conscious capitalism. Contemporary capitalism would mean a focus on quarterly numbers, an elite orientation, a volume orientation. Conscious capitalism, on the other hand, is driven by a greater sense of purpose and social accountability. ESG today, for instance, has gained wide prominence. We are called upon to see a much larger picture, to recognize that every action, every CSR initiative has a web of interconnected consequences affecting not only our stakeholders, but the entire ecosystem in which we operate. The essence is that in a world marked by increasing complexity and interdependence, it is no longer sufficient to measure CSR by isolated quantitative results. I'd like to dwell on few dimensions that could be considered in assessing the impact of our initiatives. First and foremost, as a prerequisite, and as most CSR practitioners will tell, embracing systems thinking that can transform our approach to CSR. Systems thinking encourages us to view sustainability as an integrated whole, wherein economic, social, and environmental aspects are interwoven. For instance, Ruchika, you mentioned that there were several healthcare nominations which had come in. How would you assess a healthcare program? This healthcare program might be providing or supporting primary healthcare services, for instance. Would we be measuring immediate outcomes? This would be in terms of, say, the number of beneficiaries served, the number of services provided, patient satisfaction. We may even consider measuring the clinical outcomes, but could we go further? Over time, for instance, how have these programs influenced the out-of-pocket expenses of the patients visiting the clinic? How have we influenced the health literacy levels of these patients? Have we influenced the health-seeking behavior of the population which resides in and around the clinics? I think triangulating such results would provide great insights at a population level. Systems thinking also compels us to consider the long-term consequences of our actions and investments. For meaningful change, long-term commitments are required as the impact unravels over time. For instance, we recently had a third-party impact assessment of a STEM-based education program. Now, the study clearly showed that there were significant changes in the learning aptitudes, in the knowledge retention, in the confidence levels of the student. But when did this come about? This came about in the third year of the program. It wasn't in the first or in the second year. So we've continued supporting this program right since 2018. And today we see that there has been traction on the program. And what I believe is that measuring change over time provides a more nuanced interpretation of impact. Can we look at impact in a year? I don't believe so. I think we should look at a mature incubation period and thereafter measure the impact of the program. Another aspect of systems thinking is measuring impact beyond boundaries, beyond numerical metrics. Could we explore ways to measure the interconnected impact of CSR on the entire ecosystem? I'll give you a case in point. An instance that I can think of is a wetland restoration program or a lake rejuvenation program, an environmental program that we have been engaged in since 2017. We can provide metrics for the program. Quantitative metrics are there. For instance, we measure the lake water quality. We are measuring the improvement in the biodiversity, improvement in flora, fauna, the number of community meetings that we've held. But could we go beyond that? And, based on inputs from some of our collaborators, we tried measuring what has been the impact of this rejuvenation on the mental health of the people who live in and around the lake. Now, you may wonder that this is an environmental program, but we thought, can we bring in some health metrics also? And so I believe that we need to look at the interconnectedness of impact also. The other aspect that I'd like to address is that of intangibles, those things that we cannot really measure. And this is based on experience. As part of jury presentations, like you had in your own awards prior to the awards, we're often asked by the jury to detail what is your theory of change and impact assessment metrics. But there are intangibles, and I'm unable sometimes to communicate the meaning of these intangibles. We cannot put a number to it per se. What I'm saying is, for instance, we have a healthcare program, an oral cancer screening program again, which we've been running since more than a decade. We've screened around 75,000 beneficiaries. Now you would say a decade, but just 75,000 beneficiaries, we could have done much better in terms of numbers. But the fact is that this is strategic CSR. Now we use the data from this screening program to develop an artificial intelligence algorithm. This artificial intelligence algorithm would help to kind of classify oral cancer lesions very quickly on the ground. Healthcare workers will no longer be dependent upon remote specialists or on-site specialists. Today, we don't have oral cancer specialists all across the country. How can I enable an ASHA worker? So this data helped us create this artificial intelligence algorithm. How do I classify this as an impact? That's a question. Now, I would also like to talk about the significance of collaboration and impact. Now, the very same program, what happened is that a lot of national institutes of eminence, they came together. We created an independence task force. This independent task force now, since almost past 4 years, has been releasing guidelines on the management of head and neck cancer. And these are India specific. So this has an impact in terms of influencing guidelines. It's not numerical again, but you can see that there is a distinct impact in terms of influence in how we look at management guidelines, clinical guidelines. Last but not the least, I'd like to address the role of sustainability in ensuring impact. There was a recent newsletter by the Ministry of Institute of Affairs, and they stated that the CSR spending in FY21 it amounted to around rupees 20,210 crores, representing an 80% growth since FY16. Now, while the increase is commendable, as per MCA, the impact of CSR fund was not widely felt. Necessitating a strategic and sustainable approach. It's clear that strategic CSR, collaborations, and long-term approach are imperative for all processes. The good news is there are several such collaborations being going. There are lighthouse initiatives, which are spearheaded by several organizations, wherein they form consortiums and there is a systemic approach to an issue which unites us all. As we navigate the intricate web of corporate social responsibility, it is for us to strive to leave a legacy of positive systemic change. I'd like to thank the CSR University team again for this opportunity to present my thoughts. I hope that we can reimagine CSR and embrace the profound meaning of impact transits now. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shetty, for those very inspiring and invigorating thoughts. And I think it is your multifaceted background as a physician, administrator, and researcher that has, given you or enabled you with the approach to social impact with the systems-based focus on scalability and sustainability. And you very rightly said that we should think beyond numerical metrics and embrace a broader perspective when it comes to assessing the true impact of social initiatives. So I think, Dr. Shetty, your insights will inspire us and the social sector stakeholders to think innovatively and also foster collaborative partnerships and consider long-term sustainability of each of these social interventions and endeavors. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your time and for giving us